Gibson, and I'm the principal designer and founder of AKG Design Studio. At AKG, we believe that exceptional design isn't luxury, it's the foundation for better life. Here, we specialize in creating high-impact functional spaces that are uniquely tailored to our clients' success and well-being. And that is exactly what this show is all about. So join me here each week on Design Tips and Sips as I walk you through functional and style tips, project deep dives, and key design concepts we use every day here at the studio. Ready to elevate your space and your lifestyle? Grab your sips and let's get started. A little espresso, jolt of espresso to talk about lighting. So let's talk about everything lighting. I know we had a whole episode about Lutron, and we talked about this circadian rhythm, so make sure you go and check that episode. But today, let's talk about the actual lighting fixtures and the different opportunities to create different layering of lighting. And there's also different light fixtures that show the light differently. So let's talk about lighting. We'll mostly talk about lighting in bathrooms, but those lights really can be used anywhere. So let's go and take a look, see what we have. So let's talk about bathroom lighting. This is super, super important. We get up in the morning, we stretch out, and we're ready to go in, put a whole face of makeup or not, or just brush our teeth. But we still want to have good lighting in that space. This is the first place that we use in the morning, the first and the last place you see at night. So as you can see here on this wall, we have a really great variety of lighting. Actually, a lot of them can be used in other spaces as well. Kohler has these beautiful sconces that really can be anywhere. This is one of my favorite. I actually have that in my house over my bar. So those lights are really multifunctional. You don't really have to use them just in your bathroom. But as you can see, there is different options. There are the built-in LED lights, the bar light that create a really nice contemporary look. Here we have a light that has a little bit of brass, so it's a kind of a combination of contemporary with a little bit more traditional, so we'll call it transitional. And we have it also in a vertical and a horizontal option. So you can see that there's a combination here of light bulbs and built-in LEDs. So the one thing I can say about the built-in LEDs is you have to check the actual amount of kelvins and the amount of lumens in them. Because unfortunately, a lot of these light fixtures, they're not bright enough. So you want to make sure that you have probably at least 1200 lumens in each fixture. If not, you might need to add additional recessed light or some additional lighting around it. It's just not going to be enough. I know there's a lot of light around here, but if you put this light fixture just on its own, it's not going to be enough. So for all those built-ins in general, not just specifically lights, if you're looking at the built-in LEDs, make sure you check the lumen, right? You need to make sure that it's going to be bright enough for whatever fixture, for whatever task that you're doing. Also, make sure that they're dimmable. So, because if they do high amount of lumens, it might be too bright, and you really don't want to wake up in the morning and have that jolt of light before you're ready, or even wherever area in the house, you want to create the atmosphere and be able to control it. So two things super important to check when you're buying the built-in LED lights is check the lumen. Actually, three things. So we have check the lumens, make sure how bright it is, and check the kelvins. So the kelvins are going to impact the color of the light, whether it's going to be super, super bright, daylight, very clear, sometimes feels a little bit sterile, but it depends. If you have a high contemporary design, that will be great. And the last thing, make sure that it is also dimmable, because otherwise it's going to be really hard to control and you just have one option. So this is about the built-in LEDs. Now let's talk about wall sconces. I absolutely love wall sconce. I really like framing the mirrors with the lights on each side. It creates a really great design look. It also really helps when you are doing the makeup if the light is actually shining on your sides and not from the top and on your face, because you have this beautiful light. Think about Hollywood lights. Think about Hollywood dressing room. The lights are already always shining from the sides because it just gives you better coverage for your lighting when you are doing your makeup. So if you have the space to do lights on the sides, those are beautiful. As I said, all these lights can actually be used in different locations as well. I love using them as an accent light and reduced the amount of recessed light. Recessed light is a lot of times really harsh. It's coming from above. If you want to create a space that's going to be a little bit softer, a little bit more welcoming, you can add wall sconces instead of recessed light, or even do a combination and then turn off the recessed light, use only the wall sconces. And not only they bring a beautiful design element, but also help you soften the space and enjoy a relaxing evening versus the recessed light that are burning over your head. So here we have your typical bathroom lighting. They usually come in a set of 2, 3, and some of them can be even larger, 4 or 5. I usually don't use more than the 3. Those are pretty large enough, but again, make sure that you're not going too crazy with the light bulbs in there. I'll tell you a funny story. Years ago was my first house. We just moved in and I wanted to make sure it's super bright. Now, that bathroom was also painted yellow, and I decided that I'm going max on what the manufacturer recommended. So on that bathroom, on that fixture, it was 60 watt for each light bulb. So, and we had 2 of them. So the first morning when I walked out into that bathroom, it was ta-da! So needless to say, I had to go back to the store and replace the light bulbs to something a little bit softer that won't shock me when I got up. That was many, many moons ago, before LED light bulbs, before dimmable. So definitely, just because the manufacturer recommended a certain max, you don't have to go with that. So make sure that you find light bulbs that are comfortable for you and for the space that you're using it. Talking about light bulbs, we have a lot of different light bulbs here. And of course, when you are using glass, you want to go with the clear glass bulbs if all possible. There's definitely a lot of opportunities now with the LED light bulbs. They do come in every possible shape and color. Even here, you can see that these are actually the same light bulbs. One is clear and one is white. I actually prefer the white. The clear, especially on a scone like that, you can see the elements and they're really, really bright in your eye. So if you are having it somewhere close to your face, that can be a little bit harsh. So I would probably go with the white one that diffuse the lights a little bit. It gives just the same amount of light. It just diffuse them a little bit. And make sure that you're really careful. I know there's a big trend with the Edison light bulbs. We don't have them here, but those tend to be very, very warm, very soft, and not adequate light. So even though they look cool, they look very antique and classy, they don't really give a lot of light. So if you are designing a place that's going to be a little bit more moody or darker, or trying to give some kind of more historic vibes, those Edison light bulbs are great. But otherwise, I would suggest to avoid them. All these lights are actually from Kohler. So most of us, when we think about Kohler, we think about faucets and toilets and sinks and everything plumbing related. But in the last several years, Kohler introduced line of lightings. But I have to tell you, they quickly became my favorite light fixtures. So as you can see a lot of these that have been used in my projects. I have used this light several times. We have this light in one of our projects. This collection is one of my favorites. So again, I know you don't really think about it, but if you are looking for a unique, stylish, really true to the wild and beautiful designs of Kohler, take a look at the light selections. So let's continue with lighting for the bathroom. So one of the other trends, and with the advantage of the LED now, is actually the built-in LED lights into the medicine cabinets and the mirror, which I absolutely love. But again, you have to be really careful and make sure that it gives you adequate light. This one is actually from Robran, which is one of my favorite. This medicine cabinet actually goes up, which is super awesome, and actually has outlet here so you can plug in all your stuff. But let's talk about the lighting options here. So I turned it off completely. I'm going to turn it on. You can actually change the color that is used on that. So let me make it brighter. And so this one is dimmable, and this is going to be your, probably the 35 Kelvin, and then you can actually change it and the different Kelvin. So this is probably going to be more like the 27. So as you can see, it really changed the whole atmosphere around me. It changes how my face looks. And so like right now, everything looks very warm. I look very tan. Versus this one, it's a little bit more of a harsher light. Gives me a little bit more energy maybe in the morning if I did not had enough of that espresso. I might just need a little bit more of that. And this is kind of funky, that's all. So, but as I said, it's not always enough to have that light. Some of them are going to be a little bit brighter. Some of them do have the option to change the different options on the mirror. This one has its own separate pad, and it's just on and off. So this is a medicine cabinet as well. I don't know why it's just like that, but I do like this one because the light, like we talked about it before, is coming from the side, so you get a really good coverage. It is quite bright, so it's a good amount of light, but I would have probably put this one on a dimmer just to play with that. But that would be a good enough light to be on its own in your bathroom. Versus this one, if you look at this one, this is not going to be enough light. It's a great accent light, but there's not enough light. It's probably good enough for like maybe a powder room. I would probably end up putting another recessed light or additional light with this one. So again, if you're looking at the LED lights built into the medicine cabinet, a great solution, great option for small spaces. But again, make sure you check the lumens, if it's dimmable, and the kelvins it comes with. So as you see, some of them, the more higher end, can change all three of these options, and some of them do not. So make sure you get the right solution for your needs. Thank you again for joining us today. Hopefully you learned all about lighting and the importance of lighting. And when you are working on your next project, you are not going to put lighting as an afterthought, but really think about it. It's not just beautiful design element, but it's also important to make sure that we enjoy our spaces. So before you leave, make sure you subscribe now, and Also ring the bell to make sure you get the notification. If you want to know when we're up, we're every Wednesday afternoon, Eastern Standard Time. But again, if you hit the bell for notification, you'll be the first one to know when the next episode is coming. If you want to touch base with me, please hop on our website. It's www.AKG Design Studio. Everything is in the show notes. And until next time, cheers.